Alright, let me just start by stating that I know how to cook now. Well, at least the basics. But prior to the pandemic, I didn't have too much experience with cooking. And it was even worse before that. One of my earliest exposures to cooking was actually playing Cooking Mama 4, Kitchen Magic, which I know isn't really cooking, but as a visual learner, it helped a bit. I guess also watching my mom cook is considered exposure, but I didn't really pay attention to her when she was cooking. So beyond that, my cooking experience was very limited. So when it came to learning something new like cooking, you make some mistakes. A lot of mistakes. Some important cooking rules I learned were: keep an eye on food when cooking, don't just walk away. Make sure you have all the ingredients you need before you begin cooking. And always keep an eye on the rice when cooking it in a pot. 1 minute it would be just fine, and within another instant, it's completely boiled over. Of course, these are examples of what not to do, except these aren't just examples. These have all happened to me, multiple times, even today. Now, another important thing to keep in mind when cooking is efficiency. When it comes to cooking, it usually takes up quite a bit of time, so being able to move efficiently and being done cooking a meal quickly is always nice. It's at least time for other things, like animating, or playing video games, or even going outside? Nah, I'd never do that. I'm perfectly content being in here all by myself inside. There was one instance, however, where being inefficient cost me about triple the amount of time that I wanted to spend on this dish. So while learning how to cook more during the pandemic, I made a lot of different dishes, from donuts to breakfast pizza, and of course, the Luther. But the dish that took me many hours to make was dumplings. And by the way, I had help from my sister, so this shouldn't have taken so long. But we were also making this for the first time as well. So when I did the research on how to make dumplings, one of the biggest things that took me so much time to make was the wrapping for the dumplings. This doesn't even look too hard to do, even though this is my first time attempting this. How bad could it be? Okay, I may have overestimated how quickly I can do this. So that was just the first major step in making the dumplings. Making the wrappings is a lot longer process than I thought it'd be, especially for cooking for your family as well. So after preparing the meat and giving it all its yum flavor, the next major step was putting the filling into the wrappers. This was also very difficult as a first-time dumpling maker. This next step in the process took us another 3 hours. So after getting these all wrapped up, next came the longest task yet, and that was cooking. There were several mistakes made when cooking these dumplings. Those include not putting enough water to prevent them from sticking to the pan, leaving the heat too high, leading to 1/3 of the batch being burnt, and the unlucky ones that weren't wrapped well were left as a chunk of meat with the wrapping around fully falling apart. In the end, that part of the process took 4 hours. And the reason why this process took so long was because we only had one pan that worked pretty well for cooking the dumplings, and we kept trying to do it on a low heat, realizing that's wasting too much time, and then when we did it on a high heat, that's what led to burning many of them. And in total, including the little in-between time setting up other things during the cooking process, we spent about 10 hours making 60 dumplings, with only 40 of them being edible. Even though we had many disasters along the process, the end result was delicious, especially the sauce. The sauce was impeccable. I'm just saying, If you want to try the recipe for yourself, I'll link the recipe down in the description. But now that I'm older, did I learn my lesson of prepping some parts the night before so I don't have to spend so many hours cooking something good? No, I didn't. Hello everyone, thank you all for your support. I'm hoping this video doesn't take me as long as the last one since I kept procrastinating that first one, but now that I have a sense and feel of how to make a video, I genuinely just feel more motivated to actually keep making content. So if you have any suggestions on what I should talk about, or if you have any cooking stories of your own, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and take some time to work on something you care about today.